Get 'em.
Welcome, folks. Y'all come on in and make yourself at home. This here, well, this is the Rolling Thunder Podcast, your home for all things Rolling Thunder. This episode is brought to you by Mossy Oak, because everything is better in Bottomland. Kent Cartridge, quality matters, performance counts. Shen Gear, waterfowl gear that is built better. And Benelli USA, dominate the skies.
Welcome back to another episode of the Rolling Thunder Podcast.
Hey, buddy.
What's happening?
What's going on?
Today's episode is especially brought to you today by Pelican Cases. Not a sponsor, but without them, we may not be having a podcast right now.
I mean, just because I left it in the bed of the truck for the last week, you know, I mean.
It was a solid block of ice. I could not open it for the life of me.
It's all right. I mean, so are my boots.
We made it.
So are my waders this morning. I mean, everything I own is in the back of my truck right now, except for my dog. So, how you doing?
Man, I'm getting by.
Good.
Getting by. Another day in paradise. Fixing to start the road tour for the next month.
Whew, about to grind, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, I can honestly say I'm sad to see duck season end. That's the first time I've said that in about 9 or 10 years. Usually by this point, I'm ready to be done, but I went out on a bang this morning, and I haven't hunted as much this year as I normally do, and so this is a little extra bitter, especially because turkey season doesn't start around here until April 15th.
Yeah. Well, it also makes it special because you got to do it in the home field advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Less than an hour from the house.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
52 minutes to be exact, driveway to driveway with the stop for coffee.
Stop included.
It's pretty solid.
Leave a dispense to include calculate the coffee stop
Yeah,
in there.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to. I mean, if you don't know where you like to drink your coffee, where you like to get coffee, what are you doing with your life?
I mean, that's a good point. I'm not going
travel routes. How about today? We've got one of our most well listened to podcasts. Is that how you say that? Most listened, most downloaded, most
downloaded,
best stats.
Yeah,
of not of all time, but I would definitely say your prior podcast, Walker, is in the top 5 or 6.
I checked the stats on Monday, and his all-time downloads on his episode is like 4 or 5.
Nice.
All time. Out of 100, and this is 109. So
no pressure, but you know, we need some really interesting stories. So.
Well, I feel like we may have more stuff to talk about because he has guided in 2 other countries since the last episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Not just one?
I've hunted in 2, guided in 1.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So Walker Davidson from Alabama.
Yes, sir.
Is home.
Here again.
Via Alberta and Oklahoma and
wherever the wind may blow. This spring I'll be doing some turkey hunts in Missouri, not going back to Argentina. They kind of got that operation off the ground after last year, so it seems like they're kind of rocking right along, and seems like they don't need my help, so that's good.
You got a pretty serious turkey vendetta, or you just don't really care about them?
Yeah, I'm pretty fired up. After being on the sidelines last year, you know, I mean, it was cool. Don't get me wrong. I'd send my little duck picture in the Snapchat, and then get the dead turkey pictures back, and it was like, man, that's kind of tough. Yeah.
Cute rosy bills there, Walker.
Yeah, exactly. No, there's no doubt there was some of that for sure. You know, the sitting on the sidelines. I did sneak the one in right there at the end in Michigan. So
you got to hunt Florida too before you left, right?
I did. Yeah. 2 days, 3 mornings in Florida, and then went up to Michigan at the end. We should have killed 2 more in Florida that we royally messed up. But
I hope our listeners can hear this thumping going on above us in the loft.
Work don't stop.
good. It's
the work does not stop.
about time I got a full week's worth out of everybody around here.
The last couple of months have not been good for having everybody here at one time. I can imagine.
No.
When was the last time we had everybody?
I've been cranky
here?
enough during the split.
Yeah.
I've been cranky enough to not really want to see them. Actually, it was right after the first of the year.
That's
so I
right.
made everybody come back to work after being gone 12 days. It was like, all right, everybody's got to show up on January the 4th. I had everybody here for like 3 days. There was a lot of pouting.
Oh, I can imagine.
Miss Lindy's pre-K 3 class doesn't pout as much as everybody around here because it was cloudy and rainy the whole Christmas to New Year's split.
And then the sun
the
pops
first
out.
day the sun popped out was Monday of staff meeting. Everybody was sitting around.
Seriously, I mean, it was low 30s, high skies, heavy wind, and everybody
that we knew just was butchering
Beating them
those.
down.
How about your buddies? Yeah, they shot 10 limits. How about your buddies? They shot 8 limits. How about your buddies? Don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah.
Gotta love it.
Anyways, so most recently you've been at Red Rock.
That's right.
How's that?
Sir. It was good. We had a pretty good year. First split started out real strong, and then, I mean, we killed them pretty good the whole year right up till the end. The last probably week or so got pretty tough. I mean, we still killed them. Just it got, we were scratching and clawing to get it done. But no, it was good. I think it was really dry out there this year, all year, and
Better year than last year, from what the guys said.
According to the folks that have been there longer than I have, that's the worst year they've ever seen.
Last year,
this year.
Oh, really?
In terms of no water.
Well, so like south of us got way more rain, and so they, like the people in southern Oklahoma, we think had a better year because they got the rain, whereas last year we had just a little more than they did. So it was, the one of the guy who was kind of my camp boss, he's been hunting out there for 16 years, before he was guiding or anything, and in that same little area, and he said that it was by far the worst he had ever seen it. As far as dry and duck numbers, which I mean those two go hand in hand. But
Shoot a lot of geese, a lot of littles.
I did not. I killed more honkers than I did little ones.
Really?
So I'm pretty far west.
Okay.
They kill a lot more little ones, like back towards
Central Oklahoma.
Yeah, like where our other camp is. We've got 3 camps out there. So like our east camp, they kill a lot of little geese.
I got you.
They goose hunt more than either of the middle 2 camps. We just had one little pocket of honkers that we would give them a try every now and then, kind of deal. But it was good. I mean, I only hunted them a handful of times and had 1 or 2 pretty good.
You were
hunts.
scouting every day?
Oh yeah. So. Excuse me. So we would I might have to edit that one out. We would
can smell it through the microphone.
I say leave it in.
We would pretty much scout. What you scouted your own hunts. It was kind of pretty much how it worked. And then if you hunted in the morning, ideally you're done and you don't have to hunt in the afternoon. So then you scout that afternoon too. But sometimes we'd end up sticking it out all day to scratch them out or whatever.
But you were primarily duck hunting?
Pretty much. I would say 90+% of the time.
Ponds or dry fields or both?
A little bit of everything. We hunted mostly ponds. We've got a couple river spots. We've got a little, we call it the ditch. It's literally about as wide as this room. It's a irrigation ditch.
Yeah.
And
God, those are awesome.
Man, it's pretty good when it gets right. It didn't have water. We got 2 hunts off of it this year. The water fell out. Yeah, I mean, it was tough. I definitely think that the birds were not, they didn't use the stuff they normally use because of the water situation. I mean, they were literally getting into any water they could find. Right. So it made cool for like some small water type hunting, but
you shot them out quick.
Yeah, well, because it's 80,
Yeah.
100, 120, and then like you go in there and you shoot into, even if you're shooting pairs and 5-packs and whatever, you let 3 5-packs come in and kill 1 out of each of them. There's 15 of your 80 ducks. That's you're running out of options pretty quick. But like I said, I think it. I mean, we still had some really really good hunts when it was right. I think that there the biggest thing is there's no traffic there at all. I mean, it's not a traffic type situation. It's not like you're going to the woods and just blowing your call and hoping they're coming by you. I mean,
they're coming from a roost hole to
they're coming
to water.
Or the field, or if we have the feed and the roost and the transition water, the best place to hunt them is in that in between.
So you do have a little bit of traffic.
You're kind of running traffic, but it's like you gotta. I mean, they're hitting that every day and then going to feed. Like leave the roost, hit the little creek, go feed. We'll get them in the creek. So that's sort of traffic. That's probably as close to like straight traffic as we'll do. But yeah, I would say mostly just, ponds, cattle ponds, and different things like that.
What was the coolest hunt you had in Oklahoma this season? Or what was your favorite?
Ooh, I had a couple pretty good ones. The river is the closest thing to flooded timber I've ever hunted. Okay. We got a spot on the river down there, and the cottonwoods pretty much canopy the river.
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
And you stand on the bank. I mean, the river's shin deep. You stand on the bank next to a tree. I mean, it's close to flood, and the way they work. I mean, they work it. They don't. It's very not like similar. A normal river hunt where they set up 200 yards up the river.
Yeah,
they get up above the trees and fly the river, and then come down in your hole.
That's awesome.
The last day of Oklahoma season, Sunday, I hunted the river the last couple of days, but that Sunday morning, it was a really good group of clients that I really enjoy, and I've hunted with them before, and so. We went in there and shot. I think we were like 4 mallards short, and we killed a pintail and a teal for a couple extra ducks. And it was just a really good hunt and shot everything doing it dirty,
That's awesome.
So that was probably my favorite just because of how they work in there. It's pretty cool. But I had one pretty good one on a little reservoir. We shot 50 mallards, and there was 2 kids on the hunt. That was their first duck hunt, and their granddad was there and their dad. So that was pretty special to kind of get to be a part of that with them, and that be such a good hunt. That was cool for sure too.
Who'd you guide with up in Alberta?
Ranchland Outfitters.
That's right. Okay.
And man, Alberta, Canada's Canada. It's a different deal up there for sure. But
what about my boy Barnett?
Oh, dude, I love Barnett. So he was my camp boss. So it worked out great when I got up
killer.
There. Dude, you dang right he is.
I mean, that's a boy that you give him 80 ducks and he's going to get you a shot at about 68 or 70 of them.
He is. I mean,
he has learned how to squeeze blood out of a turnip.
Man, it was really, I mean, I love just getting to learn from him. I mean, just his knowledge, and I mean, he's been going to Canada for so long too that not only is he a great caller, but just he's so intentional in how he sets up and where he sets up. And you're like, I'll pull into the field and I'm like, all right, I know, right? I'm going right there. And then I follow him around the field for 10 minutes and he's looking for a spot and he's like, well, this isn't this or that or what. And I'm like, looks fine to me.
Yeah.
And then, he sets up and kills him. And I'm like, well, he probably something to do what he's saying.
Yeah.
It's not that you wouldn't have killed him, but he probably killed twice as many as you would have.
Yeah.
You know
exactly.
what I mean? Or took half as many birds in order to kill them.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. And I think that his, kind of to that point, just that he's just good. That's all there is to it. I mean,
he's a student. I mean, he's
Yeah.
learned how to kill ducks in a place that's not easy. And he's good at it, and he observes. And there's just some people, it seems like to me, that have the ability to watch, learn, lose, adapt, and get better.
Yep.
And I'd like to think I'm one of those people, but I'm not on his level. I'm more of just get beat, think, maybe I'll get him the next time. Be too done, like blunt hammer, just try enough times.
I think, kind of like what you were saying, is like even his bad days are still 25, 30, 35. And he's like, well, they just weren't right. They weren't just, and I'm like, well, everything I watched looked like they were doing it pretty good, but yeah, he was awesome to hang out with, great to work with, and, great to learn from too.
That must have been really cool to learn from somebody like that.
Especially like the nights when, he and I could just kind of sit around and talk duck hunting and stuff. It was really cool for sure.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
What was your favorite hunt up there, you think?
Opening day was a pretty good one. We shot our geese in no time.
Big
it was
geese, little geese.
Big geese. Yeah, we were hunting honkers, and it was like I can't remember. Was it 8 or 9 of us? It was all the guides.
Oh my word! So y'all made a stack.
It was all guides, and then one of the guides' wives, and Yeah, I mean, it was like the first flock. I only shot the first 2 volleys. I genuinely felt bad for the geese.
Yeah.
I mean, oh my, like
dumb.
you could see them come off, get up off the roofs. I mean, they just 5, 6, 8, however many. Here they come.
Sounds
20
like
foot off the ground.
Sounds like Somerville.
Dude, I mean, and they get to, I mean,
still smell like eggshells.
oh yeah, I mean, they get to dadgum 15 yards. And you come out of that A-frame, shoot them, and I mean, literally, you could see it in their eyes, like oh my gosh!
And then
Yeah,
you
like,
can flag them, and they come back around because they want to see.
we shot
confused.
we shot into the same group several times that day, but I mean,
gosh.
I want to say we killed our geese in like 30 minutes, maybe, and then
What's the goose limit in Canada?
8, and then we killed.
That's a lot of geese.
It's a lot of geese.
Yeah, we
That's
shot
a lot of stank too. I mean, if you don't clean them suckers quick, they
especially
start in
the first week of September. Whew. But
Yeah,
we killed. I think we shot. It was like 24 or 27 ducks and 2 volleys, and then we were like, "All right, we're good. Let's go home."
You're knocking on the door of 100 right there.
Yeah, I mean, we were right at it, and that was a pretty cool one. Just because it was one of those deals where like, well, we could have probably stayed and shot a few more ducks or waited them out, but like, why ruin it by waiting when we just shot however many pretty quick, and we had the brush blinds and things to do that day. But
It's probably downhill from there. You're probably a grunt after that.
yeah, pretty much, pretty much.
Thanks for coming to Canada to start scouting.
I remember he was about a month into scouting, and we'd Snapchat and talk and all that kind of stuff, and I would just see him in the truck every single day. I'm like, "Are you ever going to get to hunt?" And he's like, "Probably not."
It's just part of it, kind of earning your stripes. But it doesn't bother me. And I'll say this: I mean, from scouting so much, I think I learned a lot about how to set up and how to work birds, and just watching birds work, live birds.
I would think that scouting and then watching how somebody like Matt or somebody else hunted it, and then seeing the results, seeing how the birds behaved according to your scout, that is invaluable. Because, you can, when you're only up there for a week or for 2 weeks at a time, like you can see something, you can think, man, I bet we could do X, Y, Z or whatever it is. But then if you don't get to hunt it, you don't ever learn from it. And then sometimes you hunt it and everybody talks you into doing something different. And like you know what I mean? You don't exactly get to do it.
What you thought, what you planned.
And so I would, that sounds like a lot of fun actually.
That's what, I mean, I didn't look at it as a negative at all, scouting that much, just because it was, I mean, learning and getting better. Sure. And like you said, I mean, I would like help Matt set up in the morning, then watch the first volley or 2 or 3 or whatever, and just by doing that you learn like, okay, now I know why he set up there. Like you can tell, or why, well, it would have been better over there or whatever.
How many spots did y'all hunt that were the same that he'd hunted in the past? Same farmer, same field?
Oh golly,
I mean,
was
Matt able to go, hey, go check this over here, go check that over there, kind of thing, and have a hunch?
This year we ran 2 camps. So Matt and I were in the south camp.
Okay.
And it was an area that they had hunted before, but not for 2 years because they missed a year for COVID. And then the year they came back, they just ran everything out of the north camp.
I got you.
So it was he could point me in the right direction of like where to go look, but basically, it was a lot of, hey, we hunted you in the past. Well, when was that? Oh, a couple years ago. Okay, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But it was cool. I mean, the thing I definitely did not appreciate up there is how big it is compared to scouting in Oklahoma. I mean, you scout in Oklahoma and you're like, man, I cover some ground this afternoon, and then you go up there and it's like totally different. I mean, the fields are just so huge. Yeah. And so it's just the ground you have to cover to, look at the same amount of, you got to cover 3 times as much ground to look at the same amount of fields as you do in Oklahoma, from the sheer size of the fields themselves.
Man, and they cover so much turf. I mean, they'll go 7, 8, 10 miles like it's nothing, from a roost to a feed. I mean, and then the next time they'll go a quarter mile.
And then the next time they'll walk out of the roost and eat in the field right there. Like, and I'm like, oh yeah.
You can't ever tell. I mean, it's odd how they pick what they want,
It really is. And like, I think that was another thing I learned, I picked up on pretty quick, was the difference in hunting wintering waterfowl versus migrating waterfowl. And that is like for a whole over the course of the season. Because like you said, you go for a week, it doesn't matter whether you're hunting migrating or wintering birds as long as they're there.
And a lot of times you don't know what you're dealing with because you didn't see them before and you didn't see them after. You just see a little snapshot.
But getting to sit there and watch, the same roost every day that I drove by the same roost, and it's like, okay, I mean, you up there, you can tell pretty quick whether they're there or not.
Yeah. And they act different when they're about to leave. They act different when they first got there, and I've seen that in our short time up there. You'll go in and you'll think, oh, this is going to be a slam dunk. And then they just kick your butt. And it's like somebody will say a couple days later, oh, well, I mean, those ducks have been here since July. Yeah. It's like, gotcha. Okay, those are resident ducks.
And versus, I think, too, like learning the difference in good birds and bad birds, like 5,000 bird feed of bad birds that have been messed with versus 2,000 of good birds. Right. Probably going to hunt the 2,000 good birds, Yep. And Barnett was good about helping me with a lot of that kind of stuff, like learning when something actually was a hunt, and he's like, well, we might need to wait for this or that, or, so that was a big thing, I think, was learning just the little different nuances of,
that's cool,
of paying attention, when they're passing through, it's just way different, but it's cool. I mean, it's beautiful up there. The sunrises and sunsets are just,
next level.
Oh yeah. Awesome. And,
my favorite thing about up there is drinking a beer after putting them to bed, knowing
it's about to go down.
You got that butt. Everything's done but the killing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
There's nowhere else in the flyway I feel like that's quite that sure. I mean, other than like a resident goose hunt, but like when you got them
and you know you
got them, it's just like, well, dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. Just let's get the morning over.
Right. You just sleep better,
No doubt about it. Yeah.
Try to force yourself asleep so that the night goes by faster.
That's right. Yeah. It is up there. It's, if you have not been and you're a waterfowl hunter, figure out some way to go. Yeah. I mean, you got to go see it.
And I would, along those lines, I'm sure everybody listening wants to go freelance up there, but man, honestly, it's worth paying an outfitter and going with a reputable outfitter because they're just you're going to have a better quality experience in a 3 or 4 day window than you are 10 days bumbling around, and
I would definitely,
especially if you've never been up there by yourself and you don't know how those birds behave. You don't know how to hide.
There's
a
steep learning.
Well, I'll tell you, permission up there is not easy.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe other people have better luck than me, but
Alberta's pretty tight, especially in that area y'all are in.
There's a pretty decent bit of competition around us. So other outfitters have things locked up, but there's a lot of people that just don't allow hunting at all. There's a lot of people that if you're not from Canada, they won't let you hunt. So from the freelancing standpoint, I mean, if I've freelanced North Dakota 5 times, never freelanced Canada, but if I was going on a freelancing trip, I would go to North Dakota before Canada, probably just because of that, really. Mm-hmm. I mean, in my experience, obviously everybody's different, but anyway.
I get that too.
So you're guiding in February too, aren't you?
I am. I'm going to try to
glutton for punishment.
Yeah. We're going to try to kill a few white ones. We'll see how that goes. It's
let me know if you need anything like a water hose or some shotgun shells. I don't think I'll participate in that, but if you need any advice,
some moral support,
just whatever you need.
Some cheerleaders on this side of the river.
Yeah.
We'll sit here
when I'm ready to drive my truck in a levee ditch.
Exactly.
But so it'll be cool. I think. I mean, I did it last year. It was all right. I think that it's just hunting snow geese. It's tough. I mean, you're going to get your butt kicked. That's just part of it.
And you're going to get muddy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Especially in February in Arkansas. You just go ahead. If you're worried about being wet and cold and muddy, you just hang that up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's the rest of the year hold for the Southeast's most interesting man?
After I'll be done with snow geese, I guess, kind of the end of February, 1st of March, and then probably going to take 4 or 5 days off to rest a little bit. And then I'll be working with Adam Campbell this summer, training dogs for him or with him.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome.
So I'm pretty excited about that. I've been planning on sending my puppy to him, and he and I kind of been talking back and forth, and he needed some help. And I kind of needed something to do in the summer, and last summer was fun, but sitting around doing nothing for 3 months just about drove me crazy. Mm-hmm. So anyway, make a little extra money and have something to do. So, and plus, I mean, learning the dog training thing. With my bird dog background, it's obviously different than labs, and so I think that's one thing I'm definitely looking forward to learning from Adam, of making me a better handler.
Well, if you don't come away being a better handler, it's because you're not a good learner. Because I'm telling you, that sucker flat knows it.
Ain't no doubt.
He is at the top of his game, and he's in a league of his own.
I mean, he works at it.
He really does. But he's also got a lot of talent and skill and understands it. And you're having a bad day, just talk to Adam. That'll make you have a better day. He's a world-class human being.
That is true.
I really like Adam.
How was it hunting with Tish this year?
She did pretty good. She took her on 3 hunts, and she picked up a handful on the first hunt and 2 or 3 on the second one, 2 or 3 on the last one. She's definitely figuring it out. I mean, any young dog, just part of it's for her to understand that we're duck hunting, but on that ice hole hunt, by the last one, she picked up was the first one that she actually heard us calling, looked out there, saw him, and picked him up. The other ones, I had to get her out of the blind and kind of just make her sit, and then he'd flap a wing and she'd be right on him. But as far as, so she's definitely learning. I think, part of it is my fault. She was a lot better behaved about a month and a half ago than she is right now. Just when we got busy and the days get shorter and you don't have as long in the middle of the day. So I kind of slacked up on some of her training, but I think it'll be all right. I mean, she's got plenty of sense and plenty of drive. So
and I'm sure spending a bunch of time with Adam this summer will probably help out a little bit.
Where did she come from?
She came from Jeff Jones and Jeff Farmer.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She's a shin gear puppy.
Yep, she's a shin puppy. So she's Leroy's littermate.
Gotcha. Okay.
Her and Big Leroy. Hopefully,
Leroy.
Is that how I don't know. I haven't quite mastered it yet.
I would love to get Tish and Leroy on a hunt together one of these days.
That would be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think so.
That would be pretty cool.
I think so. But yeah, so I'll be training some dogs and then doing a few turkey hunts in Missouri when their turkey season comes in, and hanging out all summer, counting down the days till Canada pretty much.
You going back up with Ranchland?
Oh yeah, that's my plan. Yes, sir.
Sweet.
Actually, I talked to Rob, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and just checking in, and we were talking, and he said, staying warm, yada, yada. Yeah, it's only 25 below. We got rid of the real cold stuff, the 40 below. I'm like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Does he stay up there all year?
He lives there. I mean, he's got a ranch, and he's got a couple different businesses that he runs, including the outfitting one. But yeah, he's full-time Canadian.
Wow.
So
I didn't realize that. I knew he was Canadian, but I didn't know if he came to, a lot of those folks come to back. America,
Yeah, no, he stays the whole time, and there's several, I guess we've got probably 4 or 5 Canadians that work for us up there. And they're all cool too. And it's nice, for them, like the local knowledge and that kind of stuff helps for sure. Same deal in Oklahoma though. We got, some guys from out of state, some guys from there, just part of it, kind of how you got to play the game, I think.
That's right. Right. What about the family life, the brother? What's
everybody's good. Up to? Everybody's good. Same old same. I think Luker's getting pretty fired up for turkey season.
I've enjoyed watching him talk crap towards you, across the
Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. He won't cut me any slack.
Yeah.
And
so how do Luker and Levi know each other?
So I was on Levi's podcast like 2.5 years ago, probably a long time ago. And let me back up. I met Levi at Squad Fest the first time they had it.
I got you.
And Levi was with Zach Brown, who used to work for Red Rock.
Right.
And so when we were all hanging out after Squad Fest, he had on a Red Rock shirt. I was like, hey, my buddy Zach Vendemia works for Red Rock, who got me hired there.
I got you.
And Levi was with them, yada, yada. So Levi and I did a podcast. Well, then, a year later, whatever, here we are. But I guess my brother and Levi somehow got in contact through that. And then they ended up they went on a trip together this year in South Dakota, where Levi's from. Luker and Zach Brown was there, JC, his girlfriend, some other guys. They all met up and did a little early season goose hunt up there.
Cool.
So then I guess once Levi made his way down here, my brother was headed home and just swung by. But I didn't know your brother, and then all of a sudden one day there was like a slightly not you version of you in the shop, and I was like, you've got to be related to Walker. Gotta be.
I thought I had the exact same thought. I kind of like looked up and like watched him walk through the lobby. I'm like, God, he looks like Walker Davidson.
Letter mate.
That's right. Yeah, old Luker, he's getting. I mean, I love the turkey hunt, but he is really.
He's eat up with it.
I mean, really getting into it and made a few of his own little mouth calls and things.
Awesome.
And so we'll see. I think he's really, really fired up for this spring. And last year he made his first traveling trip. They did Kansas and Nebraska and had a pretty good trip, him and one of his buddies. So
Is he at Auburn?
Yes, sir, he is.
Okay. What's he studying?
It's called Batman. It's like biosystems and agricultural technology management. It's basically ag engineering.
Okay.
Batman sounds cooler.
Yeah. But it's a newer major that they have. And I guess the focus of that's like the kind of the drones and between the drones and the GPSs and all that technology. It's kind of the technology engineering side of agriculture. So anyway, pretty cool.
Wild stuff that all that equipment does.
Ain't no doubt.
Sounds very daunting.
But he loves to work with his hands and kind of figure things out. And
cool.
Like if he sat in here long enough, he'd take that podcast board apart and put it back together or whatever.
Really?
So that's kind of right up his little alley. And
that is not the way that I'm wired.
No,
I'm liable to take that apart and throw it
away.
away.
Yeah, ain't no way I'd get it back together.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of guy that would try to take it apart, get frustrated, and then quit. Probably. Like, I can't do this.
I would get about 8 pieces off of it and then have to go do something else and then come back and be like, there ain't no way it's going back together.
Ain't no way I'm going to finish taking it apart, and I'm not putting it back together neither.
Yeah. No doubt about it. But yeah, so anyway.
You going to ice skate home or
about ice skated?
Do we need to find you a bed?
Off the road last night on the way here. Golly, it was driving through that deal was pretty rough. But
it looks like it's not gotten any better.
I think it's supposed to get worse tonight.
Yeah, Lindy just texted me a little while ago and said, y'all need to come home. I can walk home from here. I mean,
not that far down the road, but
no.
But yeah, so
good.
Hopefully we'll make it home in one piece and
fingers crossed.
Make it back up to NWTF and see y'all there. So
when are you going to start snow goose guiding?
Probably Monday.
Okay.
Sunday. I'll drive back to Arkansas on Sunday and then start Monday.
So you're going to go home, check in, and then turn around and come back.
Say hi, eat a couple meals, and turn right back around.
Yeah, I haven't been home since Thanksgiving. So
is there a current flame in your life?
Oh yeah, I got a girlfriend right now.
Got to go introduce yourself to her again.
That's right. She said it was kind of funny. I mean, she's been great about me being gone. Really, I mean.
She came up and saw you a couple of times.
Yeah, she did. She came, killed her first mallard this year in Oklahoma. So actually, let me back up. That probably was my favorite hunt. I did forget about that one. She got to shoot her first mallard, and that was pretty cool. And we killed some big honkers over water on that hunt, so that was awesome.
Oh, that is good.
Yeah, I did. I completely forgot about that one. That was pretty good one. But yeah, when I told her my plan for coming home and everything, because I wasn't going to come home. I was just going to stay in Arkansas for snow goose, but we don't have clients till Monday. So I was like, well, no point in sitting there for 5 days with nothing to do.
Right.
And I guess that was about a week or 10 days ago when I figured that out. And so I told her, and she got all excited and like was so excited for a couple of days. And then she's like, okay, I jumped the gun. I got way too excited way too soon, because now it's like 3 more days till you actually get home, But no, yes, she's been pretty good about the whole deal. She's going to be at NWTF too.
Oh, so good.
I'll bring her by to meet everybody and all that good stuff. But
good.
I know we got a couple newly engaged folks around here now.
Good gracious.
Everybody's getting booed up.
I know. It's going to be, it's wedding fever right now. This time next year is going to be baby fever, and there's no telling. I mean, gosh almighty, everybody that works here is going to have a puppy and a baby and a spouse. I mean,
if I get married this year and then have a kid before or during turkey season, I've done something horribly wrong.
Well, Let me tell you, better men than you fall into the.
No, I'm not saying that I'm going to be invincible about it, but I mean, I'm not saying that it won't happen.
I'm just saying I got enough gray hairs on my head to know how this goes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Y'all all work hard when you're single. It
Yeah.
starts to slow down. Everybody gets married.
And
Comes to a screeching halt
and
when,
both-
when everybody's got a kid and a dog.
me and Mary Kate, and then RT and Claire are all we're all kind of shooting for that July, August, September,
Oh, so it's going to be like boom, boom, boom.
right in the middle of show season.
RT's June 3rd, so we've already rescheduled the golf scramble. And then
That's the weekend of my birthday.
and then
Yeah, we're shooting for August or September,
Well,
which
September.
I mean, there's something every weekend, July, August, and September. So I told him yesterday we're moving stuff around the way. I was like, look, I don't care which weekend you pick,
Just pick one and
but do not expect everybody here to be here. I might can be here, be there, but you know,
there's going to be a few
Yeah.
of your buddies that ain't
Yeah.
going to make it. Well, that's what I told my friends for a long time. And then before I started guiding, I've still told them during duck season, don't count on me being there, but especially now that it's a job. I mean, I've missed several of my fraternity brothers' weddings and things. And I mean, I hate it. I wish I could be there, but part
it is
of
what
it.
it is.
that's right.
It is what it is for sure.
God, life chose you. Why? What made you want to guide so much, so many different places? Just
I mean, I think it was kind of twofold. One, the people aspect of like engaging with people, taking other people. I mean, I want everybody to love duck hunting like I do.
yeah,
And so, I mean, taking clients, if I can take them on good hunts and show them what it's all about and let them shoot decoying ducks right in their close, and if I can make somebody else love it half as much as I do, I think I've done good. That's part of it. The traveling thing, I think, came just from I had a cousin. He started his U.S. Super Slam like 16 or 17 years ago, back before it was everybody.
yeah,
And he's been kind of taking his time with it and everything. But I think watching him travel probably had something to do with it. And then when I started my turkey hunting in North Dakota trips in college, it was like, okay, I like the traveling aspect.
Right.
And then I think part of it too is that, I mean, I'm definitely the mindset of like, well, if we ain't killing them here, let's go where they are.
right.
And so I think that definitely probably just had a lot to do with, like, I can sit here and stare at the sky in Auburn, Alabama, or I can go to public land, Arkansas, and stare at the sky, or I can go to Oklahoma and try to kill some ducks.
Yeah,
I'm going to go,
yeah,
But I think as far as the volume, when guys don't really make any money anyway, but to make any, you have to do it enough days. I mean, that's kind of the
Yeah.
only way you make it work. So that was kind of if you're going to do it, you got to do Canada and then do the regular season and then find, either something good in the summer or turkeys or snows or whatever else you're going to do to kind of fill in the gaps. But
yeah. I got you.
yeah,
I can resonate with that. I mean, just there's hunting, and then there's hunting places you've never been before.
yeah.
I absolutely, and I'm sure I could probably speak for all three of us and say that hunting somewhere you've never and killing them where you never have before is electric.
I mean, I think that's what, I love Oklahoma, and anybody that asks me on any given day, I would probably choose Oklahoma over Arkansas just because day in, day out, it's probably better over there. But like my absolute favorite way to kill ducks is go find a hole in the woods that I've never been to, never seen. You go in there and kill some ducks, you've done something.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
same thing like stepping foot on public ground turkey hunt you've never been to. You get out of the truck and kill one, and you're like, all right, I've done something today.
Yeah.
There's definitely, some part of that. And I think learning new areas
That's what I
and
was
new
just fixing to
birds.
say. Learning different. Because I mean that pothole that we hunted in Oklahoma that last day, when we got there, I looked at it. I'm like, of course, I'm in the Arkansas, Tennessee duck hunting mentality. Like, ain't no way.
We ain't gonna kill a duck here.
There's no way a duck wants in here. An hour later,
You're done.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it was like.
I can't tell you how many times this year in Oklahoma I had clients like, this is where we're hunting. I'm like, yeah, that's it, bud. And, it's a creek as wide as that table or a pond that's 40 yards across. I mean, you can shoot all the way across it, whatever. And it's like,
I mean, this was probably a 75. No, probably not that big. Probably 20-acre reservoir pothole.
oh, dang, that's big water
Willow
out there.
willow brush from one end to the other.
Yeah.
And while we were packing up, taking pictures, there were still ducks trying to get in there. Never in my
wrong with
life
that.
would I imagine
Yeah.
ducks wanting to be in there.
Something
But
like that.
It's also the complete opposite of what I'm used
Way
to. Way
different.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I think that's what made that specific aspect of it really, really cool, is just watching, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, watching how birds behave in different places and you know, stuff like that.
And I think, I mean, it makes you a lot better hunter when you,
absolutely,
you know, I mean, because I've got my bag of tricks that I learned from different folks I hunted with in Arkansas, and I go to Oklahoma. Well, like, those guys that have only ever hunted Oklahoma don't necessarily, they hadn't been exposed to those tricks. And it's not that they're bad duck hunters or anything like that. It's just different, you know, more things you can do to try to kill them when it's, you know.
Yeah, because that duck you're hunting has all that stuff preloaded into his noggin.
Yep.
He's experienced everything from the top down. And, you know, it's interesting how the way it affects them and molds them, you know, if you'll let it, it does the same thing to us. You know, when you see how they react up there, like, for example, when you realize how lazy a duck is, that if he can walk out of that water and feed and then walk back to it, he's happy as a lark. Or if it's warm enough where there's invertebrates and crap in that water that he can eat and he doesn't have to get up, he's not going to.
He ain't going to.
So when you start to put that together, then you realize, like, okay, that's why there's no ducks flying around today.
Like, I mean,
they don't have to. There's
what
nothing.
makes them move and when and why. And I think, too, you know, what I was telling one of my buddies is that, like, in Canada, you do things textbook. I mean, you set up this way, you put your U out for the wind. What I mean, it's very by the book because it works up there. And then you get to Oklahoma and you edge hide and you put your full body U out and you do the same textbook things for a completely different reason, because down there they're so pressured that the only way to kill them is be textbook. I mean, you know, not the only way. I mean, and tricks work and stuff, but it's just
you can get away with things up there that you can't get away with further down the flyway.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, like, you know, Canada, A-frame hide, middle of the field, you know, even by the end of October, I mean, they get pretty skittish up there, but you can still kill a hole at 30 yards, side shoot, A-frame all day long. They never know you're there. Yeah. And you try that in Oklahoma, good luck, brother. I mean,
just not happening.
Well, and it's just them being shot. I mean, pressure is all that.
That's the biggest thing. Also, pressure is what I was about to say. It's amazing how much pressure changes them and affects them. And, I mean, you can even see it from Canada to North Dakota. Like in North Dakota, you know, the ducks will be bad to sit around all day and then fly and feed, you know, the last 5 minutes of shooting light, you know, or for 15 minutes after shooting light. And you just don't see that as much in Canada. If they don't fly, they just don't fly. It's not that they're waiting till late because of pressure. And more trucks, you know, driving up and down the road, gets them hopping. You can even see that in the areas of Saskatchewan that are really populated with outfitters and freelance hunters. I mean, those ducks act different than the areas where there aren't as much people, traffic.
And I think, too, I mean, just like watching that pressure, the way it changes when they – like even just the way they work a spread. I mean, in Canada, stuff doesn't work behind you.
Right.
They don't look for you.
That's right.
I mean, you get to Oklahoma, birds go behind you, and the only reason they're going behind you is to look for you. I mean, that's what they're doing. They get right. When they sail, when a mallard gets on top of you and does this deal with no wind, he's doing one thing, looking for you. That's it.
That's the equivalent to a turkey sticking that big long neck up like, I dare you to move.
That's exactly it. And I think that, you know, like I said, it just does help make you a lot better hunter if you pay attention to those things from the top to the bottom, for sure. Yeah.
When are you going back to Argentina?
I actually might be going back this August, maybe.
Okay.
We'll see. Not to work, just to hunt, but we will see. Dad was talking about it, but we'll see. He's been once to shoot dove, so I've never shot dove down there. I mean, where I was at, we didn't. Well, so where I was at, we didn't have dove.
Yeah.
And so, I guess one of Dad's buddies bought like one of the DU deals, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And so Dad's I think we're trying to kind of rig that up, figure it out. But
cool.
Hopefully that would work out. I really would like to go down there.
There are not too many things I add to my bucket list, but after talking to you the last time, I've added a few.
Yeah.
South American trips to my
That's a pretty good one for sure. I would say Africa definitely needs to be on there.
Really?
Too. It is.
I'm just not. The Africa thing has not bit me. But maybe because of a lack of knowledge. Like I may not know enough. But
so it got me a long time ago when I was in like 6th grade. I read the Peter Capstick books or whatever, and all his stories about elephant and buffalo and lion hunting and everything. And so I just thought it was all really cool and kind of eating up with it. But
surely we can talk about this, right?
Yeah.
I mean, mid podcast, Raleigh just needs to go potty.
I guess so. You can't hold it. It's like a puppy.
Yeah, like a woman.
When my puppy starts whining, I got to let her out halfway home. But I mean, to me, the thing about Africa is it's so wild. I mean, you truly
unpopulated wild, like
sorta. It's almost like here you build a neighborhood, the deer leave, or you know what I mean. You kind of deer live in a neighborhood. That's a bad example. Turkeys don't really live in neighborhoods.
Right.
I mean, or waterfowl.
A lot of the wildlife vacates.
You develop a pond into a parking lot for a Walmart. There's no ducks. I mean, there's none of that kind of stuff when you get out into the bush, and so it's literally like, instead of the animals living amongst the people, it's like you're living with them. I mean, this is their world. Huh. I mean, it's the animals' world for sure. And just the sheer amount of game is indescribable.
Where in Africa did you go?
South Africa, on the Eastern Cape of South Africa.
And I mean, forgive me, but South Africa is a country, not a region.
Correct. Yeah.
And it's in the southern portion of Africa.
It's the southern tip of Africa. Okay. Is the country of South Africa is basically the whole.
And you were on the East Coast?
Yes, sir. They call it the Eastern Cape. It's kind of like where I was, like basically where the mountains kind of started on that eastern side. If you
and is that Sahara? That's
what different. That would be north.
I mean, well, what's the terrain like? What's the bush?
So it's like. It looks very similar to like West Texas scrub.
Okay.
Like if you arrive,
so it's rough prairie,
pretty rough, and then there'll be like a real jagged canyon that's just lush and green.
Oh wow!
And then it like the tops will be like rough brush, hill country, whatever. If you went and rode around West Texas or where I was in Africa, the only difference is you go around a bush and there's a whitetail. You go around this bush, there's a giraffe, there's a damn kudu right there. I mean, whatever. Like, but it was really cool. I think too, they look at hunting so different than we do. And after having done that in Argentina, seeing the way different cultures view hunting is really cool, because like one of my helpers in Argentina, it was like the first week of the season, and we shot like 40 in 20 minutes. I mean, it was something stupid. And this is 2 guns shooting double barrels. So, I mean, they were smooth wearing them out. And we got done, and my helper was like, I didn't really like that. And I was like, dude, what do you mean? That's like badass duck hunt, And he's like, no, that was a massacre. Like, that wasn't
fair. Wasn't sporting.
Right. Okay. And I was like, well, I've never thought about that, because for us, it's like, done by 7:15.
Yeah. But, Instagram.
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, in Africa, there was a few other examples of stuff like that, but just, I think that the more you travel and see other places,
it rounds you out. It changes your perspective.
It does.
We're especially as Americans, we're so like, we've got our head in the sand, and we think the whole world is the way we experience it, and it's just not, I mean, everything from religion to sports to
100%
to hunting, I mean, they like, culturally we view those things differently, and it shapes our ideology. It shapes our outlook on life, and it is really interesting. And being a part of a culture that is different than yours, man, I think that's really healthy for your development.
100%.
I think Mark Twain said that the greatest tool to fight racism and bigotry is broadening one's horizon.
Yep.
I butchered that phrase, but
I knew the
quote is, get out, spread your wings, and see the world, and realize how small you are.
And realize that, the people that you grew up around are not, I mean, you might still be like them, but everybody's not the same. Everybody sees just hunting, food. Mm-hmm. Like you said, the whole deal is, it's just good to go and see and do. Mm-hmm. And it definitely it'll make you look at it differently when you come home, for sure. Mm-hmm. No doubt about that.
That's a great way to look at it.
I think we should wrap up on that note.
Think so?
End up on that one.
That's kind of a good theme to Walker Davidson.
Yeah.
World's Most Interesting Man Part 2 is World Travelers.
Hey, I mean, you want to. I think that's the other thing. Kind of going back to your question from earlier was, I mean, I think part of it is like if there's something I want to do, I'm gonna figure out how to go do it.
Yeah.
I mean, if I want to, if I think that if this is the best place to turkey hunt in this state, I'm gonna figure out my way to get there.
And I will tell you, as a, I don't know exactly how old you are, but I know that I'm a lot older than you. And I will tell you that as a guy, I've not traveled as much as you have, but I've traveled a whole lot more than the average guy walking around. And I can tell you that the older you get, the less motivated you feel to travel. And I feel like that I still like to travel a lot, but to travel constantly is what starts to change. Right. And I'm in that changing process. Like I like being home. And as a younger man, I always wanted to be gone. And it was hard on my marriage. It was hard raising kids. But I'm rambling around to say that I think it's so cool that you've experienced all these things and traveled, because I know that when you settle down, when you get married, when you build a house, like you're going to absolutely love
doing
your
all that
home
stuff
in a way that other people who haven't gotten out can't.
Right.
Because you've seen it all, and it's like once you've seen it all, and once you've experienced it all, you're kind of like, okay, this is what I like.
Yep.
And this is my spot. You know what I mean? It's
100%.
like
well, not only that, but traveling as much and doing as much as he had when he does get to that point in life, he won't have any, man, I wish I would have.
Yeah. Because the older you get, the more responsibilities you have, the more, I don't mean that in an ugly way, but
it's just a fact of the matter.
Yeah, that's
correct.
just life.
I mean, like where we started this conversation, this year I've not been able to hunt as much in years past. I'll hunt 45, 50 days, and I might have hunted, I don't know, 25, 30 days in down here, not including up north, but it's just because this business has demanded that, and my business in the past has not demanded that. And so as you grow up and as your kids grow up, and your network and your web of responsibilities just changes. And so your travel and your response to that has to also change. And so anyways, that's a rambling way of saying that I think it's pretty cool, because I know from my end of it, you're going to really enjoy settling down one day.
Oh, I definitely will. I think I would agree with that. I mean, when I got ready to graduate college, I was ag major. My parents were, I don't think that Duck God probably would have been the first choice for what I was going to do when I graduated. But I explained, that's kind of what I explained to them. I was like, right now I want to go duck hunting every day.
And you can.
If they would let me, I would go every day. And this is the only way that I will get to hunt as much as I think I want to.
Right.
And so that's what I want to do. And I want to give it a shot. And I told my mom and dad when we were having that conversation, I said, I know sitting right here that if I don't do this, I would regret it my whole life. I mean, and so I truly believe it's the best job in the world. And I try to remain as positive and appreciative of that as I can throughout the season. I mean, obviously we have tough days and work. It's still work at times, but I mean, watching the sunrise every morning, whether you're hunting or scouting, watch the sun come up, and I'm like, man, this is the best job in the world.
Yeah. What does Keith always say?
What
does Keith Allen always say? We get to duck hunt.
Yeah, we get to duck hunt. That's been his phrase all year, and I love that one, because it's just it frames the gratitude for, it's just not an we don't have to do this. We get to do this.
Exactly.
It's a privilege. It's not I don't care what anybody says. We're not feeding our family. This is not a necessity. This is a sport. It's an enjoyment. I mean, and
if you're feeding your family ducks and geese, you're doing your family a disservice. You need
to plant a garden. I mean,
turkeys, shoot a deer every now and then. I mean, hey, I'm the biggest anti-deer hunter there is, but every now and then it's all right to shoot one.
Yeah. But I've lost that fire too, but mule backstrap is good. I got to go grocery shopping a couple of times a year.
That's right.
Well, man, thanks for stopping through the shop, and thanks for visiting with us. And we were back there rearranging the warehouse, and now that I've sat down, my lower back, my legs are sore.
Stove up.
I'm pretty grateful for a little break. But
heard that.
I need to wrap up, because if I sit here much longer, my help's going to be gone.
That's 4.
That's ice coming out front. So.
Well, we appreciate everybody stopping by and listening on another episode. This has been another episode of the Rolling Thunder Podcast.
We'll catch you on the next one.
Yes, sir.
See you, buddy.